UFC Mexico City's coming up this weekend, man. Today, I'm going to be going over my betting guide and best bets for the card. Look, man, last weekend was very, very good for me. And I needed a big bounce back week because I had been very, very good and then kind of fell off a little bit, but got back on the winning train in a big way. I did really well in my predictions as well as my bets. The card was a little bit tricky because I had a big, one of my favorite, most confident last week was Jai Herbert, and I kind of got fucked there. I thought he won, but there was some other fights that were close. McParkin one was close. I had Tybura. I bet on Tybura, but the live betting is where I really took over. I really did a really good job, up 11 units from last week. But yeah, man, this weekend I'm going to plan on going live Saturday, during the fights, and I'm going to try to live bet, and we'll make some money. But I'm going to focus more on that. Typically, I was focusing more on the commentating, I would say play-by-play a little bit, but this time I'll be looking at more of the live bet, maybe not interacting with the chat as much just because I'll have the live betting on my screen, and we're going to do that next week, so make sure you tune in, or this week I guess, and on Saturday, make sure you tune in, join my Discord just to make sure you keep up with any bets. Everything's still free, of course. Follow me on Twitter, you see it in the bottom left, and we'll hop right into these bets. First up, we got Kevin Borjas, plus 140. Now, Kevin Borjas, not a bad fighter. He's had a hard little run through the UFC so far. He was a big underdog in his UFC contender fight. Came out there, got a big win. And he looked damn good. He threw over 200 strikes in that fight and looked very, very solid, man. The guy, he's got crisp striking. He's not the best striker, but he's solid. He hits pretty damn hard. For a flyweight, he's got a good amount of finishes on his record. None in the UFC. He's actually 0-2 in the UFC. A little bit concerning, but the 0-2 is coming against, as you can see here, Joshua Van, and he had a lot of success against Joshua Van, dropping him in the first round, beating him in the first round, and obviously Joshua Van is a top 15 guy. You know what I mean? He's a great fighter, and ended up kind of folding to the pressure of Joshua Van. The next fight, Alessandro Costa, got finished in that one. Leg kicks were a huge problem for him in that one. But Alessandro Costa is another guy whose training partner, Diego Lopez, a guy I expect to see in the rankings at some point pretty soon. I don't think Kevin Borjas is a killer, but he is a striker. And I do think that, Ronaldo Rodriguez, for the most part, he has grappled in his couple fights he's had. Dennis Bonder kind of forces the grappling upon you. So we've kind of seen Ronaldo Rodriguez been able to get a submission there. But if you go back to his days where he was fighting on, whatever, in the regional scene, I believe he fought in Lux. He does a lot of striking. He doesn't grapple often. So on the feet, man, he hits hard. He's actually got some decent combinations when he lets it go, but he just runs into things, man. His head movement's really, really bad. I expect Kevin Borjas to take advantage of this. Kevin Borjas, he's a simple, pretty basic striker, but he's precise. He's accurate. He snipes you, man. He's got a good one, too. He's got a good flying knee. Look for that flying knee. I think he could catch Ronaldo Rodriguez when Ronaldo tries to, pressure. Maybe he shoots a takedown that's very, not set up, and Borjas smashes him with a flying knee. He's got a really active left hook. He'll go to the body. He'll go up top with it. He's a very good, solid striker, and I think he can do enough to beat Ronaldo Rodriguez because, like I said, Ronaldo Rodriguez, he's a chaotic guy. He runs into shots. He shoots takedowns sometimes. They're not that good. They're not that crazy. He throws naked leg kicks. He can get countered off him. Ode Osborne took advantage of that and almost knocked him out. And you saw him wrestle a lot in that one. But I think that Ode was kind of, engaging in the wrestling in that fight. I think Kevin Borjas is, when he's on the ground, if he gets taken down, he's not going to look to engage, try to sweep in reverse. He's going to look to get up, okay? And I think that Kevin Borjas has more volume, lands the better shots here, and wins this fight 29-28, possibly 30-27, possibly a finish. I want to say maybe. But I think that Kevin Borjas does enough to win this fight, so I'll be picking him as an underdog, and we'll move on to the next one. We've actually got an underplay here. David Martinez versus Simon Oliveira, under 2.5, minus 115. As you guys know, fights at elevation, typically, recently there's been a lot of decisions, but that's not usually how it goes. You see guys fade, you see guys gas out, and usually finishes are going to come. The way that I see this going, and the reason I'm not taking purely David Martinez inside the distance, is because I think that David Martinez can lose. I believe his inside the distance, David Martinez, I picked him to win. I'm picking him to win. But I do believe his inside the distance is near this under 2.5, and it doesn't make sense, obviously, because I think that Simon Oliveira has a chance here. I don't think Simon Oliveira is going to win a decision, but he does kind of pull people into shooting takedowns. He can pull a guillotine. And if you guys know anything about submissions at this kind of, elevation, people are going to tap quicker because you can't breathe, right? It's at elevation. So nasty guillotine on Simon Oliveira. He has a good way of finishing the fight there. But overall, the way that Simon Oliveira fights uses a ton of energy, right? He's running around the octagon, jumping up and down, spinning, throwing chaotic shit. And especially at this elevation, man, he'll gas out for sure. And if he doesn't get that finish in the first, does Simon Oliveira, David Martinez should be able to light this dude up and finish him. I see, where Simon Oliveira kind of did it versus Daniel Marcos. Daniel Marcos made him super uncomfortable, pressuring him, putting him on the back foot a little bit. Towards the later ends of that fight, was able to find the finish there. I think that David Martinez is powerful. He's explosive, and he finishes fights, man. So to me, minus 115 is a great line here. I don't see this hitting the scorecards, and I think we'll see a finish here for sure. So this one, for me, is a good one. I like it a lot, and we'll move on to my props that I have, which I don't know why that one is a different color, but you do see two submissions here, and that's just like I explained before, because you typically see more submissions on the elevation cards because it's harder to breathe. My Rafa Garcia sub is a bit tricky because I know Vince Pichel's a guy who's not very easy to submit, but the age concerns me with Vince Pichel. He's 42 years old, if I'm not mistaken. He does a good job getting back up to his feet, but I've been so impressed, and I was really impressed when I rewatched Rafa Garcia. Obviously, last time out, Grant Dawson, dominated him, but Grant Dawson is a beast, you know what I mean? And when I watch Rafa Garcia, he's not the best striker, not the best wrestler, but he can push you, man. He pushes a crazy, crazy pace at this elevation. I think it'll only benefit him. And I think he'll find a later submission, second or third round, arm triangle, something like that. I know, like I said before, Vince is a tough guy to get out of there. But I just think at 42 years old, man, the pace that Rafa Garcia is going to push in this fight, I think it's going to be a little bit too much for Vince. And I think Vince can have some success early on, land some shots on Rafa Garcia, maybe get up from some takedowns. Vince Pichel does get taken down easily, but he gets up pretty damn quick, typically. But I think all that is just going to gas him out so much. And I think that Rafa Garcia finishes this fight on the ground with his submissions. He got a good submission game. I like Rafa Garcia submission. Plus 500 is an excellent number as well. So I like that. And then next one is going to be I'm a little sick, sorry. Edgar Chairez, round one. Look, man, Edgar Chairez taking on CJ Vergara, and I've seen different things about this fight. I think that Edgar Chairez is actually a really good fighter. Maybe not really good. I think he's really good in the first round. And, he's dynamic in the first, man. He hits damn hard. He has a nasty submission game. He's very aggressive early on into fights, and you can see that in pretty much any fight that you watch of his. Against Tatsuro Taira, Tatsuro Taira shoots a takedown. He pulls a guillotine immediately. Uses pretty much all the energy he had in that one to go out there and finish that. First round against Josh Van, dropped him, hurt him. Calf kicks were nasty. Josh Van's a durable dude. He finished Daniel Lacerda in the first round. He, against Clayton Carpenter in his Contender Series fight, which I do want to bring up, he gave Clayton Carpenter a tough fight. I mean, first round, hitting him a ton. He's very dynamic with the hands, and he definitely hits hard for a flyweight. And, you're seeing CJ Vergara coming off a first-round finish. I know Temirov's a guy who finishes fights very early on, and I think that Chairez is that dynamic early on into fights that I think he can do it as well. I'm going with Chairez round one. I'm playing this one light. All of these I'm playing light, of course, because they're kind of long shots a little bit. And the last one we got in the different color is going to be Markel Monderos, sub plus 900. I think that Markel Monderos doesn't have a submission on his record. But if you go back and watch his kind of regional fights, he's grappling a lot. And I don't necessarily know if he's going to be able to submit a guy like Austin Hubbard, who, trains at Valley Flow. He's got good cardio. He's got good pressure. Actually, I take that back. I think he can submit him, because I've seen Markel Medeiros put people in positions to get submitted. I think that there's going to be some grappling exchanges here, and I think Markel Medeiros has an opportunity to submit a guy like Austin Hubbard who's been submitted before. This is definitely a long shot for sure, and these numbers are from BetOnline, so you might be getting better numbers on DraftKings, probably in the plus 1,200 to plus, I want to say plus 1,300. in that area because, Bet Online's odds aren't really correct for props. Typically, they'll give you more on different books. But this is probably going to be somewhere in the plus 1,200 to plus 1,300 range by Thursday when the odds do drop on the real books. I don't want to call it real books, but yeah, these might all go up. I don't really know. Besides the Shirez first round, I do think I saw Shirez first round on my book, and it was this same number. I doubt these Rafa Garcia sub and Markel Madera sub are going to be this low, I want to say. But yeah, man, this is what I'm going with. Those three, and then the live betting. Make sure you come into my live stream on Saturday, right when the fight starts. I'll be live. So yeah, man, that's going to wrap it up for me. Discord will be in the description. Catch y'all boys tomorrow, hopefully with a video.